Our movie begins in the middle of a war-torn battlefield filled with destruction. A powerful warrior strides into the fray, effortlessly slaughtering the last remaining monsters. Suddenly, he spots a wounded prince lying on the ground, on the verge of death. The prince reaches out, begging for help, and feels a moment of relief when he sees the warrior approaching with an extended hand. But the prince is shocked when the warrior flips him over, not to save him, but to loot his pockets for spoils of war, completely indifferent to whether the man lives or dies. Not stopping there, the warrior snatches a mysterious amulet from the prince's neck. In his final moments, the prince warns him about the item and begs him to leave it, but the warrior ignores him, and the prince takes his last breath. Next, the warrior heads to a tavern in the heart of the kingdom. Inside, a patron complains loudly that winter is coming and he can't find food for his children, while a man like this warrior collects war loot and lives like a king. At that moment, the kingdom's wise man looks back. Realizing who the patron is talking about, the wise man stops him and warns him to leave the warrior alone. He explains that this man was a legendary commander in the queen's army, not just a common soldier, and that no enemy has ever survived his sword. The wise man reveals that this warrior is the sole survivor of a massacre that happened long ago. Since then, he has walked alone, serving no one, befriending no one, and very few people even know his name. Driven by curiosity, the patron asks for the warrior's name. But before the wise man can answer, the amulet in the warrior's pocket begins to glow. We realize it is cursed. As long as he carries it, it attracts monsters and reveals his exact location. Suddenly, a massive two-headed beast bursts into the tavern, roaring the name Deathstalker. The monster tells him it has come for Prince Haljan's amulet and demands he hand it over. Deathstalker coolly replies that he's never met anyone by that name and has no idea what the beast is talking about. The monster threatens that if he doesn't hand it over, it will devour him piece by piece, leaving nothing intact. Unfazed, Deathstalker settles his tab at the bar so he can focus on the fight, even paying for the chair he's about to break over the monster's head. He then leads the creature outside to avoid ruining the tavern's decor. Outside, Deathstalker battles the two-headed beast with his sword. He notices a strange magical symbol branded on the creature's hide. The monster tries to bite him, but he pushes it back and continues slashing. However, his attacks seem useless. The sword bounces off the beast as if it's merely tickling it. The monster then snaps Deathstalker's sword in half. Thinking quickly, Deathstalker ties the beast with a rope to pull it closer. He holds up the amulet, taunting the monster. "You want this, don't you?" As the creature charges, having two heads but no brains, Deathstalker jams a sharp object into one of its heads and flees. Before he gets far, a mysterious warrior on horseback appears and throws a blade into the monster's second head, finishing it off. On the road, Deathstalker stops and throws the amulet into a river, deciding it's more trouble than it's worth. But as he walks away, he feels a sudden weight in his pocket. To his shock, the amulet has returned. He throws it again, and again it reappears. He realizes the amulet is now bound to him. He is cursed and cannot get rid of it. By the end of the day, he decides to visit a sorceress to find a solution. As he enters her lair, she identifies him immediately without even turning to look. He shows her the amulet, and she observes that it is cursed and legally bound to him. He asks her to break the bond, but she explains that this type of magic can only be broken by the death of the owner. It was bound to the prince, and the moment Deathstalker stole it after the prince's death, it bonded to him as the new owner. He points out the inscriptions on it, hoping for a loophole. She tells him she cannot help, as it is written in an ancient, incomprehensible language, but she asks for a sacrifice in exchange for guiding him to someone who can. Deathstalker gives her his blood. She reveals that a sorcerer named Duwad understands this language and can help, if he is still alive. She gives him the name of the city where Duwad is located. As Deathstalker leaves, she warns him of a vision. A grave danger is approaching, and this time he will not be able to escape his fate. He brushes it off, saying she says the same thing every time he visits, and walks away. The next day, he arrives at the city and enters an abandoned cave. He finds human remains scattered on the floor and a box locked with chains. Realizing a battle took place here, he ignores the warning signs. Being a looter at heart, he steals a sword from a corpse to replace his broken one. As soon as he touches it, the box moves. He spots a key in the hand of another corpse. As he grabs the key, the ground shakes and swallows the bodies. He jumps away, and suddenly a girl's head emerges from the earth, exploding into a slime monster that spawns slime snakes everywhere. Deathstalker decides to open the box, revealing a tiny genie-like man. This is Duad. Duade introduces himself, but Deathstalker tells him this isn't the time for pleasantries as he fights off the snakes. Duade mentions he warned the previous thieves that the snakes were man-eaters, but they didn't listen, which is why they are now corpses. Deathstalker tells him to save the lecture for later, puts Duade on his back, and fights his way out. They manage to escape the cave. Duade thanks him for freeing him after being trapped in the box for so long. Just then, a snake attacks Deathstalker from behind. Duade tries to help with magic but misses due to his size, accidentally hitting Deathstalker instead. Deathstalker stops him, saying, "I appreciate the help, but please let me handle this," and proceeds to smash the snake against the wall until it's dead. Duade looks at the amulet and asks if it belongs to Prince Halgan. Deathstalker gets defensive about the word stole, claiming the prince was practically dead when he took it. Duade counters that as long as there was breath in his body, it counts as stealing. Deathstalker snaps, "I didn't save your life to get a lecture." He threatens to put Duade back in the box with the snakes if he doesn't shut up. Duade admits he owes him a life debt. He examines the amulet and reveals the magic is from the ancient kingdom of Asmordian. He explains that almost no one survived from that kingdom, and their language is forgotten, known only by a veteran sorcerer named Zozan. Deathstalker is frustrated, thinking he came all this way for nothing. Duade reveals that Zozan is dead, but before Deathstalker can have a nervous breakdown, he adds that Zozan was buried with his ciphers and blueprints, which will help them decode the amulet. They agree to head to the tomb at sunrise. Duade tries to bail, wishing him luck, but Deathstalker reminds him that without him, he'd still be in the box or eaten by wolves. Duade reconsiders and joins him. On the journey, Deathstalker describes the mark on the two-headed beast. Duade draws it and is horrified. It is the mark of the Cytor cult, a sect born of black magic and obsessed with dark secrets. He explains that since their leader, Necro, was defeated, the cult had vanished. If the mark is back, it means Necro might be alive and planning something massive. Suddenly, the amulet glows, signaling danger. They hide and see a masked commander with a one-eyed spy bird. The bird spots Deathstalker. The commander throws small bombs that transform into soldiers. Deathstalker steps out to face them. The commander unmasks himself, revealing he is Jotak, an old friend of Deathstalker. They used to fight sorcerers together. Deathstalker reminds him that he hasn't used his real name in years. We learn that Jotak was corrupted by the very evil they thought, the Cytor cult. Deathstalker had killed him years ago to stop the evil from spreading, not realizing black magic would resurrect him. Jotak taunts him, saying he is alive and back to serve Necro and retrieve the amulet. They duel. Jotak fights fiercely, but Deathstalker parries every blow. Just as Jotak threatens to end him, Deathstalker slices off Jotak's arm. He leaves him bleeding and escapes with Dude, hiding from the soldiers. Dude panics, realizing Necro is truly alive and hunting the amulet. They arrive at night at the land where Zozan is buried. They see Necro's followers performing a resurrection ritual to turn corpses into soldiers. A female thief named Breeze is also watching the tomb. She joins them uninvited. Once the cultists leave, the trio enters the crypt. Breeze helps push the lid off Zozan's stone coffin. They find the corpse with the scrolls. While they search for the specific cipher, Deathstalker guards the entrance. Outside, Deathstalker is ambushed by one of Necro's monsters. Inside, a faceless monster attacks Breeze and Duade, trying to drag Breeze away to eat her. Deathstalker manages to kill the outside monster by breaking its jaw, then rushes inside to save Breeze, driving his sword into the faceless monster's head. Duade finds the cipher. Suddenly, a slime remnant on the floor speaks with Necro's voice, delivering a message. Necro is returning to reclaim his kingdom. His followers are everywhere, and he will personally destroy Deathstalker. The slime goes dormant. Breeze finds a secret back exit, and they escape unseen. Outside, Deathstalker thanks Breeze. She introduces herself as a master thief, clarifying she won't steal the cipher because it's useless to her. They decide to rest. However, Deathstalker wakes up as the amulet glows again. He goes to confront the danger alone. A stone monster in the shape of a soldier attacks him. Breeze appears, distracts the monster, jumps on it, and rips out its eye. Just as the monster is about to crush her, Deathstalker destroys it. Breeze keeps the stone eye as a souvenir. Meanwhile, at Necro's castle, Jotak wakes up during a ritual. Necro saves him, attaching human flesh to his stump, which transforms into a new slime arm. Necro tells Jotak his mission isn't over. They will destroy Deathstalker and rule the world. The next day, the group finds a destroyed camp with bodies scattered everywhere. The amulet glows. A mummy-like monster with a chainsaw-tipped chain attacks. Duade warns that this is one of the kingdom's deadliest beasts. The monster finds them. Breeze tries to fight, but it vanishes and reappears, attacking Deathstalker with the chainsaw chain. Just as the saw is about to hit, it freezes. Duade's magic finally works, but the effect is brief. The saw grazes Deathstalker's shoulder, wounding him. Deathstalker fights back, but the monster keeps teleporting. Duade spots it, points it out, and Deathstalker throws the chain back at the monster, wrapping it up and using the saw to decapitate it. That night, Breeze notices Deathstalker's wound is still open. She offers to help with magic seeds. She places 3 seeds on the wound, 1 to clean it, 1 to stimulate blood flow, and 1 to reduce fear. Deathstalker scoffs that he fears nothing. She clarifies it's the fear of dying from the infection. He screams in pain like a child when she applies them, then jokes about a thief knowing medicine. He admits he is glad she is with them. Duade finally deciphers the amulet. He declares Deathstalker free from the curse, but warns the mission isn't over. He explains the Talon prophecy. Ages ago, the sorcerer Talon, light, and Cytor, darkness, fought. Talon created a weapon called Talon's Light, hidden inside the amulet. It consists of 4 swords. The prophecy says a warrior will rise from the dead, wield the 4 blades, and extinguish the 4 hearts of evil. The next morning, they wake up to find Breeze and the amulet gone. Deathstalker realizes she stole it. Suddenly, soldiers surround them. Deathstalker is annoyed that after fighting monsters, he gets captured by humans. They are taken to Queen Grindel, leader of the thieves and gypsies. Breeze is there. She betrayed them and gave the amulet to Grindel. Grindel mocks Deathstalker, reminding him of unpaid debts from the past when he refused to share his loot. She reveals she plans to sell the amulet to Prince Balder, a relative of the dead Prince Halgan. Grindel orders her men to kill Deathstalker and Duade. Breeze protests, saying this wasn't part of the deal, but Grindel ignores her. Suddenly, Necro's monsters attack the hideout, slaughtering Grindel's men and killing Grindel herself. A monster separates Grindel's head from her body. Deathstalker tries to grab the amulet from her corpse. He prepares to fight the monsters, but Duade starts playing music or humming. The monsters stop and become calm. Duade tells Deathstalker to hug the monster. Deathstalker refuses, but eventually does it. The monster calms down completely. They are actually good creatures corrupted by war. The monsters advise them to take the amulet to the royal family who are waiting for it. They arrive at the palace and meet Prince Balder, a spoiled, shivering coward. Deathstalker introduces himself and hands over the amulet. Balder is overjoyed but then betrays them. Instead of gold, he tosses Deathstalker a handful of rocks and orders his guards to bring him Deathstalker's head. Deathstalker prepares to fight, but bomb soldiers drop from the sky. Necro's forces have arrived. Duade kills the spy bird. Jotak appears, kills Prince Balder effortlessly, and takes the amulet. He then fights Deathstalker. Jotak uses his dark magic arm to overpower Deathstalker, eventually stabbing his claws deep into Deathstalker's body. Breeze jumps in, stabbing Jotak repeatedly. Jotak grabs her by the throat. Deathstalker denies knowing her to save her, but Breeze uses the stone eye she kept to burn Jotak, forcing him to drop her. Deathstalker attacks again, but Jotak overpowers him and drives his hand through Deathstalker's heart. Deathstalker dies. Jotak leaves with the amulet to meet Necro. The good monsters find Deathstalker's body. They use a magical tree trunk to replace his heart. Deathstalker gasps. He is resurrected. He tells the monsters that Jotak was right about one thing: losing your life opens your eyes. He decides to save his friends. A monster points him to a flying beast, which he uses to fly to Necro's castle. At the castle, Necro and Jotak prepare to use Breeze as a vessel for the evil spirit Cytor. Necro throws the amulet into a vat of black magic liquid, claiming no mortal can touch it, only someone who has died and returned. He shouts that no one can stop him. Suddenly, Deathstalker drops from the sky. He frees Duad and tells him to save Breeze. Deathstalker fights Jotak. He tries to cut the magic arm, but his sword fails. He tricks Jotak, shoving a dark magic grenade into his mouth and kicking him away. Jotak explodes. A slime soldier rises from his remains, but Deathstalker destroys it too. Meanwhile, Cytor possesses Breeze's body and eats Necro. Cytor is now fully manifest. Duade points out that the amulet is in the vat, and Cytor is about to kill them all. Deathstalker realizes he fits the prophecy. He died and came back. He plunges his hand into the dark liquid and pulls out the Talon's Light, a weapon with 4 blades. Cytor attacks. Deathstalker remembers Breeze's words about everyone having their own heart. He deduces Cytor has 3 hearts, since he is an ancient evil entity. He detaches one of the swords and stabs Cytor through all 3 hearts simultaneously. Cytor disintegrates. Breeze is expelled, alive and safe. The next day, the group sits together. Duade marvels that the prophecy is fulfilled. Breeze tells Deathstalker the throne is his if he wants it. Deathstalker looks at the weapon, then destroys it to prevent evil from ever rising again. He chooses to leave the power behind and walk his own path, but this time not as a loner, but with his friends. The movie ends. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.